So, can we just talk about season 7, Love is Blind, and focus on this triangulation that was going on between Hannah, Leo, and Brittany? But before we get started, my name is btaylortv, and welcome back to my channel where we are going to take a deep dive and give different and unique perspectives. All right, so let me just go ahead and start with each character of these people, or my interpretation of each person on this show. So Leo, he was giving, I don't need validation. I don't want nobody to, want me for money, but I'm going to constantly talk about money. I'm going to come up here and talk about how successful I am. His whole entire identity was his money and taking over his family business. I mean, sir, we don't have to, love is blind. No one would have known that you have money until you said you had money. You could have said, hey, I'm in the art selling business and it does very well for me, and kept it simple as that. But you want to talk about, all these people want me because I got all this money and I'm just looking for love. And this man came there to play games. He really dead ass went and on that show to come and play games. I saw right through him, and he was giving me the ultimate ick. He was giving me the ick. He was just so full of himself. But people like that who hide behind their money don't really have any substance, and they have very low self-esteem because they honestly haven't really built up enough character and personality for themselves, because a lot of things were handed to them in life and they didn't really need to do much. And for him to be having, quote unquote, that amount of money and pulling up to a show with a Rolex on, why is he single? Aren't the top 10% men have all these options? All these men tell us that men like him, it is easy for them to get access to women. But here you are saying that you have all this money and you're on a show like Love is Blind. And you're there talking about your money, but in the same sentence talking about how you didn't like having all this money. Like, it is the ick, the ultimate ick. Now I want to go into Hannah Banana. I don't know if that's how you call her name, but I want to call her Hannah Banana. I used to know a Hannah, and I used to call her Hannah Banana. Anyways, Hannah is 26 years old. She is the youngest on Love is Blind, and a lot of men were drawn to her because of her youth and naiveness. I mean, Hannah is just very naive. She don't really know much. She asks a lot of questions. She has a carefree spirit. You could tell that she's just still bright-eyed and starry-eyed, and she has some insecurities, but she's willing to put up with a lot of things. She's still just trying to get to know herself in this world. She's been through some things. And honestly, I feel like a lot of men like Hannah because she was very youthful and naive and she didn't really know much. But baby, they had Hannah effed up because Hannah was standing on business, because Hannah had options. And because Hannah had all these options, she stood on business. And I respect Hannah when her body told her that something was not right with someone. She went with it, but she reminded me of myself. Like I can be indecisive. And if I listen to too many other people's opinions, it can easily kind of sway me here. But ultimately, I'm going to make the best decision for myself at that time. Even if I make the wrong decision, I'm eventually going to go with what my heart is telling me. And Hannah ended up choosing the right guy in this situation because she did not choose Leo, and anybody but Leo would have been a good option. Okay. So I respect Hannah for that. And she was like, no, hold on, look, it's giving pressure. Like when she tried to break things off with Leo, the fact that Leo cornered her and put all this pressure on her. But we're going to get into that a little later. So let's move on with my girl, Brittany. Okay. Shout out to the Brittany's. I'm a Brittany myself. So let's talk about Brittany for a second. Brittany is the it girl. Brittany is the girl that everybody looks at and assume that life it's just so easy for her, and it's so easy for her to find a man, and she's probably never really been through a heartbreak, or, she's airy head. And she really reminded me a lot about myself, because I feel like that's how a lot of people look at me, like this little bunny, like they refer to her like a bunny and like a Barbie, and that she's kind of like an airhead and she's not that smart. And it's unfortunately sad that people equate beauty to being dumb or an airhead and not that intelligent and not that smart. So they look at someone like Brittany and go, well, she doesn't really have much other than her looks, because she really hasn't needed to use her brain to get her far in life, which is further from the truth. Like, I think she just plays off of her innocence. She plays off of her bubbly personality, because she's just is a bubbly, outgoing, positive woman. And I love that. I feel like me and her could end up being friends for sure, or something, or just going out for like drinks or something like that. Brittany reminds me of that type of girl that, she attracts men, but she eventually be like, look, like, you're not going to keep playing with my emotions. And Brittany has been through some things, okay? She says she's, used to date rock stars and athletes. So when you've been in that world, it's a pretty traumatic world, because athletes are nothing but players. Rock stars are just that. They're living a rock star life, and they have women in rotation, and they really don't value women the way that the average man would value a woman, because they have so much access to many different women. So that has obviously hurt her self-esteem. And so she's like, all right, I want to try Love is Blind. I can easily get men just the way I look, but can I make a man stay based off of how I look? And no, especially the type of men that she's used to dating. So let's talk about this triangulation with Leo, Hannah, and Brittany. So Leo goes in and he has his two love interests, who is Brittany and Hannah. And Leo likes both of them. He likes her youthfulness with Hannah, but then he knows that Brittany is a baddie. He knows that she sounds cute and small and all this other stuff, but he's also drawn to the fact that he thought he could manipulate someone like Hannah. He thought he could easily manipulate Hannah, that he's older, more experienced, has money. And this girl's like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. Oh, okay, cool, whatever. Anyways, and then he even said the one thing he liked about Hannah is that she's constantly asking questions. AKA, she's constantly asking questions, which gets me, someone like him, to talk about himself all the time. Of course, that's how you get men drawn to you, is, get them to talk about themselves. Duh, that makes them feel good about themselves and make them feel like you actually care about them. So he knew that he had, I would say he thought he had this power over both of these women because he had options. Do y'all not see how men act when they have options? You see how he played off the emotions of these two women, playing off of Brittany's emotions by bringing up Hannah, bringing up Brittany to Hannah. And like the conversations and the dynamic of their relationships were very different. The way he talked to Brittany, like he was just getting like an ego boost from her. You could tell that he liked having a woman that was so emotionally invested in him, and how he put her on the back burner. Y'all gotta take tips from this, because this is key. He put the woman who was the most emotionally invested in him to the back burner as his second choice over Hannah, who he found out another guy was talking to. So soon as he found out, oh, there's competition. Oh, okay, let me pull out my cards. Let me pull out all stops, okay? And he wasn't aggressive towards the man. He was more so aggressive in his approach to get Hannah to feel the same way about him that Brittany feels. That's why he was so comfortable bringing up Hannah and his interest in Hannah to make Brittany feel insecure and make her feel unsure of herself. And her crying just gave him an ego boost. And he just was like telling her like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm weighing my options. I just don't know. I feel the exact same way about both of you ladies. And he tried to play that game with Hannah, and Hannah's like, I got another option. So if you feel this way about Brittany, maybe y'all should go about that route, because I also have a love interest who I am also very interested in. So basically, Hannah pulled a Leo on Leo because she's like, you're not my only option. Because Leo wasn't Hannah's only option. He felt like, no, I need to invest more into Hannah. Like, he wanted to hang on to her. He wanted something that he could not have. Or if he felt like something that he owned and wanted to possess was going to be out of his hands, then he's drawn to it more. Because he was playing that game with both of them. Like, oh, well, I don't know. And, I'm just weighing my options. But then Hannah played the Uno reverse card on his ass. Okay. And that is by when she went on her date with her second option, and I cannot think of his name, y'all. So if y'all know his name, please put it in the comments below. But when she went on a date with him, he just basically was like, you know what, let me wrap this up and tell this girl that I love her. Because you're my only love interest, and I'm for you. I'm here for you. That's the one. Like, women and men are very different. Like, the woman is like, you know what? This man is all in, and he loved me, and he seemed like he's ready to move forward in this relationship. And this guy is making me a second option. So, no, thank you. Right. But poor Brittany. Oh my gosh. She was just so devastated because Leo was her only option. He was the only guy she was invested in. And that's why it is not safe to put all your eggs in one basket, especially while dating, because look what happened. Now Leo is in control of her heart. Leo is literally saying, it's either you or this other woman, but I don't know yet. I don't know, because this other woman is just so amazing. Imagine how sick to your stomach to hear a man that you're fully invested in, you're all in, and he's still looking the other way at the other option who has another option, and he's telling you about it. I mean, she even cried and said this is just triggering her trauma for, in her past where she dealt with men who pitted her against other women, because that's exactly what Leo was doing. He was pitting her against other women. And so she was like, this is triggering for me. Like, maybe I can walk away. So she even tried to take her power back by saying like, well, who's to say that I would say yes if you were to propose? And he's like, well, would you say yes? And she's like, well, yeah. She couldn't get control of the situation. He had all the power until girl power. Hannah pulled the Uno reverse card on him and ended up basically breaking up with Leo. And this is where Leo unmasked himself. I mean, it was so cringy and emotionally abusive. What are y'all thoughts? Like, it was very emotional abusive to me, because he was really cornering this young woman and trying to manipulate her about her decision. This woman came in confident about her decision, and he went into panic mode because right then and there, he lost all control. And you see how he freaked out when he lost control over Hannah? He forgot about Brittany. He literally told Hannah, I will marry you right now. If I asked you right now, can you wait for me? Can you wait for me? Can you wait for me? Like, just wait for a second. And this woman has literally said, like, I'm in love with this man and I want to move forward with this man. And you're pressuring her instead of respecting her decision. You're cornering her, you're pressuring her, and you're trying to make her make a decision out of pressure. And The girl just started breaking down crying. I mean, Hannah is losing her shit. She is crying. She doesn't know how to feel. She feels like she's being emotionally manipulated. She feels like all this pressure. This woman even said, I've never cried. I'm not a crier. I haven't cried that hard in like 10 years. And she don't even know this man. And this man is so manipulative, where he was able to get a woman that he has not met in person to cry so hard like that. It was so disgusting to watch. And I just love the girl power moment when Hannah came to Brittany and told her everything that this man was saying. He was saying, I love you. It's you. I want to marry you. Give me a chance. I was going to, it was going to be you. You were my decision, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And Brittany's like, at first, Brittany was so happy when Hannah said, I'm about to break up with him. And she's like, yes, now I get to be in control and he's going to only focus on me. Then when Hannah came back and told her, like, hey, this just happened in the pods. Like, this man, like, I'm literally hysterically crying right now. You need to be careful with him. And Brittany's like, okay, so this is where things kind of changed for me with Brittany, because I'm like, you go, girl. Now you got the cards in your hands. Like, now this is the time for you to boss up and stick it to him. Like, you tried to really make me a second option. You tried to sleep on me and you really wasn't invested in me. And then you're trying to play in my face and tell me to wait to make your decision and that you love me and you just got to see to full blown. Hannah is the one. You telling Hannah she's the one. But Brittany's like, you know what? I'm going to play my cards with this, right? Like, I get the upper hand, right? So then Hannah meets up with Leo again and officially break things off. And this is where Leo apologizes. But he is apologizing in a very arrogant, egotistical way because he does not like rejection. And this is where it clicked for me, where he does not like to be rejected. And he literally was trying to manipulate Hannah and say, well, yeah, it was mutual. Can you let Brittany know, please, that this was a mutual breakup? And Hannah's like, what? I'm not about to tell her that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, now you're trying to flip it like Brittany's always been your option and you're just now coming to the light and she's always been the one. Like, what? Like, sir, we didn't watch about 7 episodes. We saw how you was acting over both of them. And we just saw the last episode, you acting crazy over Hannah. So you're not about to play in our faces and make it seem like Brittany was always the choice. No, Brittany is now your only choice. And now you don't want to lose Brittany because you're going to feel like a loser losing 2 women. You had 2 women on, you thought you had 2 women on your hook. And now you're down to 1. And you're scared Hannah's going to mess that up where you're fishing and your fishing rod is going to come up empty. So he ends up talking to Brittany and you could just tell at this point, they just want to be on the show. They just want to be on the show at this point because Brittany knew it was over. She couldn't even feel the same way about him as she wants it. She couldn't even tell that man that she loved him. And he's telling her like, oh, I want to marry you and blah, blah, blah. She's just like, oh, I don't know. Let's do it. Okay, I'm going to give it a chance. At this point, I'm like, oh, okay. There's no way she's still into him. She's doing this for longevity to be on the show. You know, they get a free trip to Mexico. They get more exposure and experience and all this other stuff. Like, that's what it was giving. But they were the most entertaining on the show, right? So, finale. Let me tell you. Hold on. let me retract back. When Hannah meets her love interest, and I cannot get that man's name for the life of me, so please, I apologize because I was just focused on these 3 the entire time. So when Hannah ended up meeting her love interest, you could just tell that he thought that she was this young 26-year-old hot young girl, and she came through 5'9", and the girl is thick. Okay, baby, she thick. She a little thick. And I just think that he just was not expecting that. And he started to feel intimidated. And this just keeps showing you that love is not blind, especially when it comes down to men and, women as well. Because some women will excuse it, or they'll try to excuse it if you're such an amazing man or you're decent looking. But for men, they either attracted to you or not. Okay, especially when it comes down to marriage. Like, they'll hit, but marriage, dating, relationship, I gotta stare at you every night? Negative. They can't even fake it. So he was kind of like, oh man, she's tall. Like, you could just tell he wasn't really attracted to Hannah. All the men hyped up Hannah because they thought she was just this young, thick, 26-year-old girl. No, my girl Hannah came through thicker than a snicker, and she's tall, and that can intimidate a lot of men as well, especially if they are not that tall. So they both kind of lied about their appearances because he came off like he was this big, sturdy football player, and he is scrawny and small, and she's like, okay. So they both not attracted to each other. Now you have Leo and Brittany meet. Dun, 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 dun. I've been waiting for this moment. I'm not going to lie. I stopped binge watching once I saw this. Okay. Once I saw this, I stopped binge watching. I said, I need a break. I need a break from Love is Blind, because when they saw each other, it was just like, you could tell he was like, oh yeah, I knew she was hot with these big boobs, and like, I knew she was hot. And you could tell he was just like, yeah, like, I got me a prize. Like, yeah, man, like, ooh. And then I think she played it along because, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think she also played it along not only for longevity to be on the show, but I think she also wanted to let him see who he was playing with, for an ego boost for her, because he really hurt her ego. So she needed that ego boost and was like, oh, okay, I'm going to see you in person. You're going to see who I am. And once she saw him in person, I just feel like she was like, yeah, no, you wasn't that cute to be trying to play in my face like that. Like, how dare you? Yeah, you see what you almost missed out on? Yeah. But let me tell you, this was the most cringiest moment on TV, y'all. The cringiest moment on TV. This man, the body language is body languaging. Okay, he kept grabbing her. She was pulling away. He was trying to grab her hand. Her body was just off-putted from him. She was just very off-putting. Like, he was very off-putting to her. And then the moments where they sat on the couch and he was grabbing her hair. He just kept grabbing her hair, and that part kept making me upset, because I'm like, why do you keep grabbing her hair? But it was like subconsciously he was trying to hold on to whatever he had left, whatever grip that he had left, whatever control that he had left. He felt it all slipping away. So subconsciously he was grabbing the back of her hair and clenching it, and kept clenching it because she kept kind of pulling away. And every time she pulled away, he pulled her back in and kept grabbing her hair. And she just looked very uncomfortable. And it was a very, very cringy moment on TV. And then when they walked away from each other, they're like, okay, well, either we're going to do Miami or we're going to do Mexico with the show. And then the show is like, yeah, we didn't pick them. I'm like, what? Love is Blind, Netflix. What do you mean you didn't pick him? Like, what do you mean you didn't pick this couple? We are very emotionally invested to see this train wreck. And here you are telling me that now we can't even see the train wreck crash? Are you serious? I was waiting for Leo to meet Hannah and Brittany's reaction and all that. I needed that moment. And that honestly made me not want to watch the show anymore, just because I'm like, are y'all dumb? Like, we are living for the drama. This is like, we like Love is Blind, but we're not here all for the love. We're here for the drama a little bit as well. So the fact that they took the most entertaining couple off the show was just mind-blowing to me, and I was so over it. And they end up breaking up after they went on vacation with each other. So I did a little digging because I was like, maybe there was abuse there. Maybe there was some, some weird stuff going on where Brittany just felt uncomfortable. Child, it was all the producers. They was just like, yeah, we knew they was going to break up and we didn't want to showcase them anymore. And I'm like, half of the couples there we know is going to break up. We know Hannah and that dude is going to break up. Like, what are we saying here? Like, they would have been entertaining. They kept me invested. And now I'm not that invested, but I may watch one more episode just to see if things pick up. Y'all let me know. Have y'all watched past episode 7? Because I need to see if it is worth watching after this, because at this point I was so invested, and then they took away the most dramatic couple of the show. Like, I don't know what else to say, y'all, but I don't want to make this video too long. I don't went on my rant long enough. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. I just had to get this off my mind because this has been on my mind since I watched the show. And if you haven't watched Love is Blind, let me know if you're going to watch it after this review. And if you saw what I saw, do you relate to what I saw? And maybe I missed some things in this video. So go ahead and drop that below as well. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.